In this episode, we're going to be talking about how a Taiwanese firm has decided not to come to Canada to build an electric battery plant, despite the federal and provincial governments offering them nearly $300 million in taxpayers' dollars. We're going to show how the Liberal government, Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau, can't take a joke from Donald Trump, and in doing so, expose their inability to lead. And on the first day of Hanukkah, the far left, in their inclusiveness, decides to attack everywhere that Jewish people might be congregating or celebrating. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling, and I'm your host. Many of you will remember when Chrystia Freeland stood up 100 times and said that the foreign investment was going to be saving Canada, that they were going to be leading the way in the e-green transition, and all of this money that they were giving to these foreign companies, Canadian taxpayers' dollars, was somehow going to benefit local jobs and local businesses and going to make everything warm and fuzzy. However, we know now that many of those firms have not made good on their commitment. They may have taken some Canadian tax dollars and they may have broken ground, but in the end, they have gone back to their respective countries because it turns out that people don't want to have to put electricity into their car when they don't have any ways or means to do so. I picked this story up from the CBC. A Taiwanese firm halts plans to build a $1 billion battery plant in BC with federal support. E1 Moly says it is focusing on Taiwanese production before expansion abroad. A $1 billion ion battery cell production plant that was planned for Maple Ridge, BC has been shelved. The parent company, Taiwan Cement Corp, announced the construction of Canadian plant with much fanfare last year, with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Premier David Eby attending the promise of a combined $284.5 million in government funding. The statement from E1 Mole has informed the Canadian government of its decision to halt the plans, adding that it will be very difficult for the company to build new plants abroad before achieving the full efficiency of its Taiwanese facility. So it turns out that this company wants to make sure that they look after their own country first before worrying about investing in other countries. Isn't that an odd thing to hear? Well, I think that it's important. I know I try to be funny there, but the reality is that that's the message the Trudeau government and the far left doesn't want you to hear. The people are, in fact, quite nationalist, and they do worry about themselves and their own people and their own regions before they worry about others. And we as Canadians have to be doing that, because this investment that everybody keeps talking about, we don't need anybody else. We have everything we need in this country, and we should be doing it ourselves. And if they're going to give $300 million to a company, they're better off to just give $300 million to people that are here if they think that there's such a future for this battery production. Now, I can see how there might be a market for cement, though. I absolutely can see that, which of course is a terrible idea for Stephen Guilbeault, because cement being one of the most energy and carbon off-putting things that we have in construction. But that's a different topic, I suppose. Oh, this next one makes me laugh. In a way, it makes me laugh, because you can see Trump just laughing and all of his people around him, breaking out in hysterical laughter, thinking about Justin Trudeau finally making a response to this 51st state and all that stuff. Justin Trudeau made a post on X, and it's some information about Canada for Americans. And you can see there that it was when Tom Brokaw made a little 6 or 10 minute video about Canada because they were showcasing it for the Olympics. It's a whole bunch of different things about Canada that really don't necessarily have any relevance to what Trump is doing. But Justin Trudeau just couldn't resist himself. Like you can see him sitting somewhere feeling slighted and smarted, right? Which is important, because if everywhere this guy goes and somebody tries to give him a joke or tries to rub him the wrong way or how is he going to fit in? I mean, there's many people in this world that would see this as a weakness. They would see this in his inability to take a joke and his inability to let things slide off his back as something that they can exploit, that they can turn against the actual person, which by then extension turn against the entire country. Now, you have to see it for what it is. It's not like he's talking about a land invasion. It's a joke. He doesn't think that Justin Trudeau is a capable leader. And that's the reality of it. And the more that Canadians get all bent out of shape, the more he's going to make his posts. And to be honest with you, the fact that Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney both made a response. You can't get over it, I'm telling you. Of course, some people are getting pretty making pretty good comments. You can see here the to date, Canada has given Ukraine $18 billion. Sorry, seniors, people on disability and homeless, maybe next year. Because, they have to take every opportunity to point out to Trudeau that there's other things to worry about than whether or not Trump is making a joke at Trudeau's expense. And as well, Trudeau deserves it, right? Trudeau is not a respected leader on the world stage. No matter what he wants you to believe, no matter what he has to say, he doesn't get respect anywhere he goes. And as a result, the whole country doesn't get any respect. Now, Mark Carney weighed in on this guy who's not a politician, but somehow seems to be right near the top of the strings in this country. He's quick to slam on Elon Musk, but he himself is in a much similar position. Now, Donald Trump made this full-length sort of, card that he put out on Christmas Day, and he's talking about everything. He's talking about Trump or Trudeau being the governor. He's talking about Panama. He's making all of these things, and he's saying a lot of stuff to the radical far left, and of course that's got them all bent out of shape. And Mark Carney, of course, sits firmly on the radical far left, who he completely supports the carbon tax, despite what it does to the average Canadian. And I suspect that it's because he has a lot of companies that make a lot of money off of the tax rebates that the Trudeau government gives him. But I won't say that any further than that. However, he made a post. And I just think that sometimes people should really be careful what they say. Trump's not going to care what you have to say, but in Canada, we're all watching what you have to say, especially Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau. This is carrying the joke, in quotes, too far. The casual disrespect, the poor tax math, and ignoring the workers on both sides of our border will be better off if we work together. Time to call it out, stand up for Canada, and build a true North American partnership. Isn't that funny? Because when people were telling you that they were having a hard time, when people were telling you that we, as Canadians are having a hard time, you were like, either get on board with the left or you can leave the country. You're not going to fly on any planes. We're not going to let you have any of your jobs. We don't care what you have to say. You're some kind of an ist. You're every type of ist. And how dare you think that we're going to work with you? We will take no advice from you conservatives. Now, as it turns out, you're in the minority. The reality of it is. And you're begging for people to work together. Those flags, they're Canada, the United States, and Mexico. However, the thing that you need to appreciate is that there's no more of that. We will work together, but we have to protect ourselves. Just because you want to have free trade arrangement doesn't mean that Canada should be putting heavy-duty taxes on Canadian farmers and importing uncarbon taxed Mexican produce like tomatoes and cucumbers. That's not right. Why should we as Canadians be tolerating that, Mr. Carney? Why should we allow you to put a carbon tax on the greenhouses that this country so desperately needs and the technology that they so desperately can have? Because remember, a greenhouse used to be a thing difficult to build, but now we have LEDs that can hit the spectrum. So the light bulbs are inexpensive. They don't draw any power. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off topic, but I can point to 100 different ways where Mark Carney doesn't care about you and me in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that he's doing here is trying to just tell ourselves that he can make a jab at Trump. But Trump is running roughshod over the both of them. That's why you got this, this joke too far, the casual disrespect. It's not a casual disrespect. It's a 100% right in your face disrespect. He does not respect you in any way, shape, or form. And who can blame him? The way that you treat people has now come back in your face, and you're looking for support. Man, get out of the way and let those of us that need to know what need to get done, get it started. Today's the first day of Hanukkah, and it's also Boxing Day, so there was a lot of activity going on in the various malls and in the Eaton Center downtown. There was a protest from many foreign influence people who don't share our values, don't share our way of life, don't share any of the things that make the free world what it is. They come from worlds that are not free, as a matter of fact. They decided they were going to hold another protest. They were going to pick and choose which freedoms they want to be defended by, right? They want to be protected by the right to have a protest in the middle of the mall, but they don't want you to be able to say that you don't agree with it. So Brian Lilly made a post here, a quick video from the, I'm going to say it's the Eaton Center. Yeah, he posts there, it's the Eaton Center. And you can see, they're asking for the arrest of, that's a government leader, that's a world leader, and they want to be throwing that up. They might as well go hang out with, other people who think that's an acceptable way to behave. The more I think about this taking over the Eaton Center for the Hamas cause, the more I want action. Arrest those involved, deport non-citizens for supporting terrorism, same in Montreal, Vancouver, and elsewhere. Now, before I comment on that, I just want to show you a couple things. Here we can see a clip from West Edmonton Mall where there's a lot of fighting going on, apparently. There's a lot of violence and hostility between the various groups of people. Here's one from, I don't know, somebody. But here I am free to trash talk about this country in hopes that I can change it to a country where I'm forced to keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to go too far into that in this particular video, though. Certainly I will be addressing it more. Right now, I'd like to show how the Pleb has put up the same video, or at least similar to the video. Palestinian protesters are protesting at the Eaton Centre in downtown Toronto. They are ruining Boxing Day for normal Canadians over a conflict happening on the other side of the world. Who else is fed up with seeing Canada being ruined by these people? And I can't agree with him anymore. I think that's a very strong position. I think that the time of letting people walk roughshod, I mean, that's consider something. Boxing Day, it's a 12 days of Christmas, right? And so Boxing Day, you're actually impinging on a religious holiday. It might be that it's okay to go shopping, but it's still in the Christmas holiday. So you're having this protest on Christmas and on Hanukkah, which is an outright absolute attack on two major earth religions. I think that if you want to be talking to us about somehow we should be fighting your war, we're not going to be doing that. And I as a Canadian, do not have any interest in fighting your war. You came to this country to escape your war. Now you're importing that war. Does that sound like it's a good idea to anybody who's listening to this? Does it sound like you want to have civil war in downtown Toronto over religion? This is a slap in the face for anybody that came here who was told themselves that they would be finding a place to escape the hunger, the hostility, and the hatred of where they grew up. Let's remember something, that there's no crime that's been committed here except for worshiping a different God. This is not the kind of thing that I find to be acceptable. I think that when you want to talk to somebody about when you want to attack somebody for their religion, you are absolutely 100% violating their human rights to have their own religion. And if the mayor of Toronto doesn't want to come in and clear these people out of the mall, then there's something wrong with the mayor of Toronto. And when we slide down a few responses to the Pleb, we can see there's one talking about how Michael Barrett MP, the promise of Canada was that if you worked hard, you get a good life. Trudeau broke that promise. Life hasn't been the same since Justin Trudeau. Then David Jacobs' protests, apparently they were protesting the store because it's owned by Jewish people. I don't know how that's any different. Protesting a store because the person that owns it is based completely and solely on their religion. That's an even greater transgression of their human rights. They have the right to worship and they have the right to love whomever they choose, remember? And anybody who doesn't stand in between this mob of people and this innocent person just trying to go to work and own a business is part of the problem, not part of the solution. I agree with Brian Lilly. I'm getting really fed up with this. This is not the Canada that I envisioned when I was growing up. This is not the Canada that the world wants to see. This hatred has to stop. It has to stop now. And if Justin Trudeau won't speak out against it, then Justin Trudeau is part of it. I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you for listening. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with all of your socials. I will talk to you next time.